welcome to What the Bleep Are You Watching? A podcast where we watch a film and tell you why the bleep we watched it. I am Sesame Street Sean. This is Muppet Thomas and Fraggle Mason. And we watched...
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell swing and jingle bell ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Yeah! Jingle bells chime in jingle bell time. Boom. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. Rah! In the frosty air.
Muppet Family Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
So...
Merry Chrysler.
For we need a little Christmas right this very minute.
Right this very in the middle of November when we're recording this.
So... if we didn't piss off the internet when we did our Halloween episode and said that we are doing the best Charlie Brown special,
Would that really piss anyone off?
I don't know. But now, what if I come on here and go, this is the best Muppet Christmas thing?
So, objectively, I think Christmas Carol is better, but personally, this special had me smiling for 45 fucking minutes.
And I love
straight,
Christmas Carol, but this is my favorite Muppet Christmas thing.
The thing is, if I'm comparing Muppet Christmas things, I'm heavily biased towards Christmas Carol because that is a yearly tradition in my house. It's that and the Mickey one, and that is a yearly that around Christmas time we watch that. However, having said that, I think if this is what we watched yearly instead, it would be this.
That's fair. And it's
nostalgia's a bitch. So.
Muppet Christmas Carol is my favorite interpretation of the Christmas Carol story. So,
really odd tangent on Muppet Christmas Carol.
Us a really odd tangent? Never.
So, did you guys ever watch that weird CGI Christmas Carol that came out a couple years ago that starred Luke Evans?
No, I don't think I heard. No.
When you said weird CG,
you were thinking of the Jim Carrey one?
I was thinking of the Jim Carrey.
No. There's a weird CGI one that came out just a couple years ago. It stars Luke Evans. That's not a good movie, but oh my god, Luke Evans can sing like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So,
really?
oh yeah, he goes hard in that movie. So all I'm saying is, if they were ever to do Muppets Christmas Carol again, instead of Michael Caine, get Luke Evans.
Yeah, Luke Evans.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, that is exclusively a thought that went into my Muppet-addled brain, so... But on the actual topic of...
Eventually, we will probably cover Christmas Carol because our Muppet brains are like, ooh, more Muppets.
You get everything.
I was going to say.
Ooh, Muppets. And this is the most Muppety thing that is ever Muppeted.
Yeah.
It is incredibly
And you might be wondering why we didn't do Christmas Carol, because that is the more popular one. It's because, for me, this is kind of the more underrated Muppets thing. Still, a lot of people talk about it, but it's mostly like the public audience knows Christmas Carol. Hardcore Muppet fans kind of know Family Christmas.
Well, I think
and
you
then
just
even
look
more
at the
hardcore ones know about the one where Kermit prevents 9/11.
amount of the amount of letterboxed logs for the two movies. Christmas Carol had I think I looked up had something like 400, 500,000, and this one was like 50,000.
It was that many, but everybody loves it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
How many reviews did we see going through this that said this is my Infinity War?
because this is the most ambitious crossover ever. Because Infinity War didn't have them having 100 puppets in a room from 3 different franchises.
No, Endgame, yeah, they had that big charge, but there wasn't like 70 puppeteers under them going, "It's fucking hot under here. Can we wrap this up?"
There was nobody sticking their hand up RDJ's ass trying to puppet him to say, "I am Iron Man."
So what you're saying is Infinity War would have been better if it starred Muppets. I can't help but agree.
I was going to say.
A little bit behind the scene before we jump into this. Muppet Family Christmas aired in 1987, the year of my birth, on ABC. It was watched by 19.3 million people, and it earned the 24th out of 69 shows that week for Nielsen ratings. It has been listed on multiple top 10 Christmas specials, including TV Guide's top 10 best family holiday specials list, where it came in at number 6. It was a lot of the others, like, praise it, but also say that, like, it is kind of filled with cheap cameos. I think the cameos are amazing, but also my brain is sometimes just part Muppet. So
am I a man?
But I have we talked at the beginning here, like, this nostalgia you said for Christmas Carol and things like that. And while I think I've probably seen Christmas Carol a lot more, I had this on VHS recorded either off of TV when it re-aired, or maybe even my parents recorded it around the time it came out. I don't remember what we had, but we had a recorded copy of this on VHS and watched it. I watched it a fair amount as a kid, so, like, I do have some nostalgia for it, because there's just something really just so charming about this movie. It doesn't really do a whole lot. Its story is really minuscule. It is just...
I was going to say, what story?
There is no story.
Well, they all go to Mama Fozzie Bear's house.
And all trip on her
and
porch.
Celebrate Christmas.
That's the first 5 minutes.
And
the
celebrate
first 5 minutes,
Christmas.
you got the plot.
Yeah.
And it is very light on story.
But at the same time, it doesn't matter.
It also might be one of the funniest Muppet things, maybe since Caper.
It's hilarious.
It's really fucking funny.
If I'd have actually seen Caper, I would have.
Oh, Caper, I think, is the funniest Muppet.
Caper is far and away the funniest Muppet thing, because it has that kind of Mel Brookish humor, like peak Mel Brooks humor.
It is peak Jim Henson. Like, it is peak what Jim Henson, and a lot of that same kind of elements of some of those jokes are in this special.
Yeah.
This is very similar to that, which Caper kind of takes off of some... I mean, Muppet Movie as well, from the Muppet Show, and kind of those scenes together, those bits together, and this is very much Muppet Show. So, but yeah, let's jump into this epic plot. Yeah, epic plot.
Yeah.
Let's jump into this masterpiece of storytelling.
The Muppets want to get to Grandma Fozzie's.
Fozzie's just like, hey, we're all gonna go to my mom's house for Christmas. Well, won't your mom be upset? Nah, she loves it when we surprise her.
I bet she's...
Bears love surprises.
I bet she's sitting at home by the fireplace in a rocking chair being so lonely. California, here I come.
So it turns out that
Dinoco, here we come.
Mama Fozzie Bear, which I think her name's Emily. I think it's Emily Bear.
Emily.
I think actually the version that you see most of the time out here has a few scenes cut out of it from the original airing because of licensing, and I believe some of the stuff that say her name are cut out. But yeah, she's going to California. She's taken months of surfing lessons. She's going to have a nice warm Christmas. She's even rented out her farmhouse to a nice old man who a lot of Muppet fans maybe were even introduced to at this point, because if you didn't watch Fraggle Rock, which a lot of people haven't, you would not know this person.
It's a little bit unfortunate that Fraggle Rock kind of gets the raw end of the deal.
Yeah, I mean, something has to, sadly, and Fraggle Rock is the one.
Kind of got the raw end of the stick, but hey, this is where it gets to shine right side beside its puppety brethren.
Look on the bright side, Fraggles. You're not Muppets or Sesame Street, but you ain't Dark Crystal.
I love Dark Crystal, but yeah, it's
I haven't
true.
watched it. I can't judge.
That's
I want
fair.
to, but I can't.
So she's rented out her farmhouse to Doc from Fraggle Rock and Sprocket.
Who, interestingly, if you were a UK viewer, you're like, who the fuck?
Is Doc, because Doc was not Sprocket's owner in the UK version. They actually had a different character who ran a lighthouse.
Yeah.
So this is the only time, if you are a UK fan, that you got to see Doc as in the Muppety Jim Henson universe.
I'm just now realizing this, and spoilers for when we get to that part. But at no point do Doc and Sprocket interact with the Fraggles.
Yeah, not really.
They mention the Fraggles.
I haven't seen much of Fraggle Rock, but I think that's kind of the point. Is Doc doesn't know the Fraggles exist.
Yeah, but Sprocket does, right?
Sprocket does, but
And Sprocket never interacts with them.
I think there's an element of because they're here, that's why the Fraggle hole is in the basement.
the Fraggles just travel with them. Like, oh, Doc's leaving. All right, everybody, pack up.
But so all the at this point, Mama Fozzie Bear is about to leave, and she's like, "I have a what? Who else is knocking at my door?" And it's Fozzie. She's like, "Fozzie, what are you doing here? Are you here on a?" I brought all of my friends.
Okay, quick little thing before we get to Fozzie bringing his friends in. I'm a sucker for when like movies or TV episodes or something like this do something like this when a character's parent is introduced for the first time and they have like a little greeting that they do with each other, like Fozzie and his mom, they meet each other and they do the thing that they do. Mm-hmm. I'm such a sucker for that.
Mama Fozzie Bear is just a Fozzie Bear puppet in drag. That's literally what it is. And it's perfect.
The jeans beat the shit out of Fozzie's dad, who I like to imagine is just some normal dude named Tim.
There is that bit in the ABC Muppet Show where Fozzie, girlfriend, he's being introduced to the parents.
Well, because that's what I'm saying. Like, well, Fozzie dated a human, so it's a very real possibility.
It's a very real possibility.
So, at this point, as all of the friends come in, we get the gag, and they beat this gag over and over and over and over and over again.
And it's still funny every time.
She says, "Careful for the icy patch."
And just all... What cracks me up is even when what makes the joke work, in my opinion, is that even when, Kermit slips on it, and normally it's like, oh, that'd be the end of the joke because the main guy slipped. No. When Kermit gets up, every single Muppet in the background keeps slipping.
That goes through.
Every single person that walks through the door slips on the icy patch.
And when you think you're done laughing at it, Beaker slips and he's like,
So,
I think what I'm discovering through this is that I love the Muppets that speak in complete gibberish. Those are my favorite.
What are you talking about? You haven't learned the completely real language of fake Swedish?
The thing that we're going to get in a little bit is also to realize is I love anytime the Sesame Street characters are on the screen.
Yeah. And spoilers, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
But yeah.
So anyway, Fozzie is talking to his mom, and he really wants to introduce Kermit, and the way he introduces, like, this is my very special friend, Kermit.
This is my boss, my inspiration, the love of my life. What?
That's the thing. I was genuinely, if this was like the ABC Muppet Show, if it was more adult, it genuinely would have been like, the love of my life. Fozzie, we're not gay. We're not.
When did that happen?
And I made the joke of Fozzie turning to Kermit and going, "Don't open your present."
So then,
if it doesn't happen at work, we don't have to explain it to me.
The phone rings, and Animal just goes, "Phone, goes and answers the phone, and it's Piggy. Pig, and throws the phone.
He just drops the phone.
I want to make my ringtone just Animal going, "Phone."
No, you just need to make it, pig.
That's a text tone.
You just how excited Animal is for the phone and how disappointed he is that it's Miss Piggy on the other end. Miss Piggy has not come to the farmhouse at this point because she forgot about this photo shoot that she just booked.
With a
very excited cameraman.
I was about to say that. Let's say excited.
The cameraman played by one of the puppeteers in every single Sesame Street thing ever.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. And plays a lot of characters on Sesame Street.
Well, I can understand why they kept him away from the
He
Muppets.
played things like Baby Bear and a lot of the other random little characters. He plays a lot of smaller characters, but yeah. Piggy's not here. She's going to get here eventually. Kermit's a little sad. But importantly is they also invited the MVP of this special, Swedish chef, who is here to cook a great dinner. Yep. And he comes in... Also slips on the icy patch.
Also slips on it.
And he's like, because he don't worry, the turkey's on its way.
Yep, the turkey comes in, is completely blissfully unaware that it's going to get cooked.
Giant turkey, like this big turkey that is the size of most of the Muppets walks in,
he's like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm a turkey.
I'm here to be a part of the party, yeah. And Gonzo's like, hey.
You gotta get out of here.
I'm going to do you a solid here. You don't want to be here. They want to cook you.
And then this
The
is where
betrayal
we get,
that's coming later.
This is where we get the best, one of the best lines in this entire special is when the turkey goes, "That's preposterous. I was invited over here by a guy who spoke Swedish."
Speaking of the Swedish chef, he is fed up at the rats and chickens in his kitchen.
Yeah, because Gonzo invited Rizzo, and Rizzo invited the rats. Well, he snuck them along.
Yeah, and Gonzo, of course, brought his girlfriend and all of her relatives.
Yeah.
Because Gonzo can go nowhere without his chickens.
Yeah. And
Gotta have the chicken gang.
Yeah, so basically the special from here, I'm going to be honest, it's, again, Sean said, it's a very loose plot. It's more just a series of vignettes.
Yep, it's little Muppet Show gags, basically. Little funny things. There's legitimately just gags from the Muppet Show. When we get to the weather report, it's literally just a Muppet Show gag. But we get our first, well, not our first musical number because it does open with them in the truck singing, but our first musical, we get the band all playing Jingle Bell Rock. Yeah. And while we're watching that, I was like, I'm pretty sure as a kid this was the first place I ever heard Jingle Bell Rock as a kid was on this special. Like, there may be something else that I heard it on, but I'm pretty sure, this was...
this was the first time you remembered.
Yeah, a memory of that song would be from this special. So, Fozzie's out doing snowman stuff with the snow, but while he's building a snowman and stuff and out there, Rolf is here. He was chasing the truck, because he's a dog.
I wonder how far away this house is from wherever Rolf was. I want to know how long Rolf was running.
I like to imagine that when they were all leaving, they're like, all right, Rolf, get in the truck. No, I need to do this.
That would sound like Rolf. Rolf always wants to do dog things.
Yeah.
But he comes up and he says, I was chasing the truck all day and I'm exhausted. Exhausted. Get it? Truck. Go tell that to my mom. So he goes in to tell it to Mama Fozzie Bear. But of course he slips on the icy patch.
And never finishes the joke. That's what cracks me up.
Yeah.
He just slips on the ice patch. It's like, you know what? I'm done with it.
And this is where he meets Sprocket, and the dogs bark at each other.
It's very weird to see this real-looking dog next to Rolf, who looks like an 8-year-old's interpretation of a dog.
This is why Rolf is best dog.
That's always been a thing with Rolf, though. Like when one of his first appearances, he has a crush on Lassie. Mm-hmm. So it's always been a thing with Ralph.
And Rolf's been around a long time.
Ralph was one of the first Muppets.
He was one of the OGs.
Yep. And then he immediately finds a piano, and he's like, I love out-of-tune pianos.
It's a weird thing to say.
Honestly, I always took it as sarcasm.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I love out-of-tune pianos. Keep up your fucking maintenance.
It also might be that he just likes to tune pianos. I don't know as well. Ralph likes his pianos.
Rolf is the Schroeder of the Muppet universe.
He is.
Yeah.
We are outside. Fozzie has finished his snowman, and he's singing, and his snowman comes to life and sings with him. Great snowman puppet. And then they start doing their comedy act.
Something that I pointed out while we were watching it is that the snowman is wearing a very similar looking hat to the one that Fozzie wears.
Yes.
And something that I'm just now thinking of, do we think that Fozzie's hat has magical powers where it bestows his personality onto whatever he puts it on?
So it's like the Frosty the Snowman thing where...
Except it transfers personality.
Yes.
Interesting. Maybe. Possibly.
That's just a theory, anyways.
So Fozzie is very excited. He has a new act with him and a snowman. And so he wants to go tell his life partner, his best friend, Kermit the Frog. And he runs in.
We haven't gotten to the real life partners yet. They'll show up in a minute.
Yeah. Kermit is like, tell me, Fozzie, tell me. I'm really, really interested. Phone? It might be Piggy. He goes and answers the phone. And Fozzie's like, I just wanted to tell you the story. I'm never going to get to.
Yeah, and Piggy is doing some Christmas shopping, really late. It's literally Christmas Eve. So
that last minute shopping, that's where all the great deals happen.
Look, if anyone's killing anybody on Black Friday, it's Piggy. Piggy is the one who's going to war in those aisles.
100%. 100%.
And she's winning all of them.
At this point, though, we hear some barking because Swedish Fish has decided the dog is turkey because the turkey told him that the dog is turkey and he needs turkey for his dinner, so he's trying to cook the dog.
No, I love the candy Swedish Fish.
And he's like, the dog is the turkey. The turkey is the dog. And the dog, I don't care what the turkey said. I'm not a turkey.
That's not the turkey. The turkey is a turkey, you turkey.
Yeah, I love Doc. Doc's exasperation at this whole thing is kind of what makes him such a good character in this.
And the thing that's great, Swedish Fish is always carrying the
Swedish
cellar.
who?
Swedish Chef.
There you go. You did it twice.
I've done it twice. I've done it all night long, literally as we were watching it, and in my notes a couple times I had to correct it. My brain has put those two together for whatever reason. That's
Hey,
what my
I would
brain
eat
is doing.
Swedish Chef candy.
I would as well.
You eat it, and all of a sudden you can't speak.
The Swedish Chef has the celery bits the entire time, and he's hitting people with it.
Interesting thing about Swedish Chef is that a lot of actual Swedish people who have seen Swedish Chef have been like, actually, he sounds more Finnish.
I honestly thought you were about to say a lot of Swedish people who've seen him be like, Grandpa?
So, we have to get all of the Jim Henson kid properties in here, and that includes Muppet Babies.
Yeah, so Scooter finds a film reel. One of the only, I think, one of the 3 lines Scooter gets in this whole
Scooter
thing.
does not have a whole lot.
I mean, because it's chock full, so.
Everyone, trying to find lines for everyone, but we get the Muppet Babies. I think we only got, because most of the time Muppet Babies have been animated in their existence.
Yes.
But between this and Takes Manhattan, I think these are the only two times that Muppet Babies were the actual puppets.
And then the actual
They are
puppets,
adorable. I love them. I love the Muppet Babies stuff. It's cute.
See, when you guys told me that the Muppet Babies were in this, I was expecting it to be the animated version, and I was gonna start having flashbacks to the Star Wars Christmas special and that animated sequence.
We get the greatest line ever. Legitimately the best line in this special. Even weirdos are cute when they are babies.
It's exactly what my mom said when I was born. Hey-o!
And then my favorite part of that is Gonzo comes up to Doc, and it's like, I knew you'd get to love us. I never said that.
Well, Gonzo then has a lot more problems because Turkey is moving in on his woman.
Yeah, this turkey's such a bitch.
He's such a turkey.
Betrayal here. Gonzo saved your life.
And now you're trying to fuck his girl.
And Gonzo is not having that. He is
I'd have
upset.
brought Swedish Chef back in, here's your turkey!
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're about to fight. They keep making threats to each other. They go nose to nose or beak to beak, which is a very funny visual.
They're like, oh yeah? Yeah. Oh
And-
yeah? Yeah.
And if we're being honest, Gonzo's winning the fight.
Gonzo is. And
Gonzo is
Gonzo-
absolutely winning the fight.
Miss Piggy is the most combat experience of the Muppets, but Gonzo is the one who has no self-restraint. So he's breaking every bone in his body to win a fight.
He'd be more of a loose cannon in a fight than Animal.
But this is the part. What stops the fight from happening is what takes this special from really good to elite. Because there are carolers, and guess who the carolers are? It's everyone from the street. That's right. Sesame Street is here.
Yeah, Kermit hears carolers. They look outside, and every single Sesame Street puppet
All
is
of
there.
them.
And
I love the caroling. I love each one. I love that Oscar the Grouch is basically I'm not participating, but they still sing he's like, I'm not going to participate. La 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 la.
Yeah,
so he was forced to participate.
Yes, and this is the first time we've really covered anything Sesame Street related.
Yeah, for as much about the Muppets we've talked about, we haven't really touched on Sesame Street.
Finding Sesame Street things to watch is a little harder.
Yeah.
There are things we've talked about. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of the specials that I really would like to visit, but they're harder to get a hold
we
of.
want to do. I would like to do both theatrically released movies.
I was gonna say we've got Follow That Bird and Elmo in Grouchland.
Yeah, and then there's some specials. So yeah, let's get this out of the way. The Sesame Street gang fucking rules. I love the Sesame.
They are
I love
Sesame
them.
Street gang in the Muppet verse and being allowed to be more of their Muppet selves. With more of the
just
jokes.
So elite.
Oh,
Yes.
This is peak Sesame Street.
And it's kind of interesting because Kermit was on Sesame Street a few times.
Yeah.
So it's there had been some crossover before, but there hasn't really been any since.
Well, the licensing.
And it's the
I was gonna
licensing.
say,
Partly
yeah.
because
Licensing.
Jim Henson would pass away, Disney would get the Muppets license.
Yeah, and then several years later, Warner Brothers would get Sesame Street.
So that's
And,
partly why.
If we want to round up all three, I'm pretty sure Apple has Fraggles.
I think that is right.
What?
I don't know.
Why?
But we get why is the Sesame Street so good in this? Because scenes like this is Doc meets Ernie and Bert, and at this point Doc is like, "Well, I guess I don't get to sleep in the attic anymore." And Mama Fozzie's like, "Well, you can build bunk beds in the closet," and he's like, "Get me a hammer."
Yeah, and it's Hey, my name's Doc. Doc, that starts with D. Yes, yes, that starts with I. True, true, that starts with T. What is this? Where we come from, this is small talk.
Best line.
That's just genuinely a great joke.
It's so good.
I love to think that that's how like everyone from Sesame Street talks, like even the humans.
Yeah, well, that is. If you've watched Sesame Street, that's how they talk.
But I mean like out of Sesame Street, like when they go to other places,
like-
they still talk like that.
Like just some regular Joe from Sesame Street is talking in like the line in a New York deli, and it's like pastrami. That starts with a P. Just fucking move, buddy.
Just order the food.
Food,
Sorry.
that starts with an F. God! Money, that starts with an M. You're beating my ass.
Starts with a B.
So,
Restraining orders.
at this point, I can assume that Gonzo has given up the turkey because the turkey is now in the Swedish chef's grasps. But the turkey is able to wiggle out by saying, "Look, I know I'm a delicious giant bird. Look at me, I'm delicious. But look out there." And Swedish chef gets his eyes on the biggest bird possible.
And it's
gobble little grande, or
and
something
it's
like that.
possibly my favorite visual. It's not, but it's like a really great visual gag. Swedish Chef has this big pot for the turkey. When he sees Big Bird, his mouth drops and he just shucks
it behind him.
And what cracks me up is it breaks a window. Like it breaks something.
So we get the
It's those human hands.
I mentioned there was a Muppet Show gag, and that is that there's a weather alert on it, and as the weatherman, he goes, "The barometer is falling."
And a bunch of barometers.
barometers falling. That literally every Muppet Show episode has something falling on
Is the
him.
news reporter from the Muppet Show? I thought
Yes.
that was a Sesame Street character.
No, there's two.
Mm-hmm.
Because during the caroling, there was one that looked like him. He's the Sesame
Yes, because that is absolutely a Muppet Show bit. It's every single Muppet Show they say something is falling on the news reporter, and he says some turn a phrase and it falls on him.
Yeah.
It's an entire gag that they do every episode. But
I
then
haven't watched a lot of the Muppet Show.
Then we get the
need to
count.
watch more.
Guys, the count is amazing in this. And it says that a big snowstorm's happening. He looks out the window and he starts counting the snowflakes. 1 snowflake. Two snowflakes. And
3 snow.
there are several moments that this special literally broke Mason. This is one that almost broke me. Was the counting snowflakes.
And then,
I like to imagine that if nobody pulled him away, he would just stand there forever. He'd be like, 3,500,000. Count, come on.
I think it would have
Is
been
the count
funny.
just ridiculously OCD? Like, if you dropped all of, like, sticks on the ground, would he have to count them?
Once.
Before picking them up, he has to count them?
You know what? Probably. And he would immediately be like, "Oh, you dick, 1 stick."
Well, I mean, this is ridiculous, but one of the like vampire lore things is that they are OCD. Like vampires have to like pick. There's like a lot of different lores that they have to pick things up. They have to like things. So like,
So what we're saying is the Count is a canonically accurate.
yeah, he's a canonically accurate vampire.
I've never seen his reflection.
So we
I
also
don't
get
think I have either.
one of the best. There are 2 Muppet Sesame Street bonding sessions that are amazing. The first one we have here, Oscar the Grouch and Rizzo the Rat.
Such
Which-
a match made in heaven.
It's exactly that. It's a match made in heaven, and it's like, of course, the most trash human being of the Muppets would be attracted to Oscar.
Of course, and it's perfect. Then we have which character brings out the cookies?
Janice.
Janice, that's right, Janice. I was like, which one brings out the cookies and is like, I brought cookies, and Cookie Monster, of course.
Yeah. And she's like, "What was that creature?" And was like, "My kind of guy."
Janice's face, the look on Janice's face as all the cookies go away is just one of like...
It's just abject horror, and it's hilarious.
It is, yes.
There was actually another one, but because of several copyright issues, it's been cut out of basically everything, where Fozzie and Elmo light up the Christmas tree. We weren't able to see that. If you are able to find it anywhere, email us, let us know. But
Yeah.
Please, I need more Elmo in my life. I
So
love him so much.
then we get the Sesame Street gang, specifically Ernie and Bert, are putting on a Night Before Christmas play. And Ernie comes out in kind of like the old-timey hat and, nightgown thing. And he's like, come on, Bert. Come on out, Bert. Well, and he's like,
I don't wanna.
And he comes out because he is dressed like a lady.
Yeah, and it's like, why?
And
do
of course,
you,
Ernie's.
like, why do you wish to humiliate me?
But they do the Night Before Christmas, which then has possibly the best pun in the entire thing. Is they say, "Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse," and Grover comes out wearing mouse ears with a bowl, and he says, "Look, my hand is not on the spoon, therefore not stirring."
And
Oh, it's so good.
Look,
Ernie's smiling like a motherfucker, and Bert is just so done.
I love Grover. I love Grover. And they're honestly, for a while before Elmo Mania took on, Grover was kind of that character. You had a lot more Grover stuff.
Well, it's funny you bring up Elmo Mania because Elmo is here. He is in this special.
He is.
I mean, I obviously brought up, but this was right before Elmo Mania, so
Because this was kind of that transitional period between Elmo going from background Muppet to
The face.
The face, yeah.
yeah,
9 years before Tickle Me Elmo was a thing.
Yeah, and this was just. It's so fascinating looking back on this, and it's right before Elmo got just giant.
Yeah.
Like when you watch the special of all the Muppets that you would see in this, you wouldn't look at Elmo and go, "He's getting a talk show."
Yeah, no, like you'd think. Well, the Santa Claus is the two-headed monster, so you think, oh, well, that's the one they're going to try and make back. No, it's Elmo, who's just one of the reindeer. So.
Which you know, and I'm happy that they made Elmo big.
I was going to say,
I love Elmo.
I was going to say, I'm not complaining. I never got the Elmo hate, but, you know, I grew up with Elmo, kind of, so.
I think it was some of the people that, like, Elmo was kind of like this, like, as a kid who watched more Sesame Street than, you know, until I was like 5 or 6, it was everything. I loved Sesame Street, but Elmo was never one of my favorites because he wasn't a big feature. And then, you know, as I'm getting a little older, I'm 10 as Elmo Mania is hitting me, and I'm like, why is Elmo popular? Where's Grover? Where's Ernie and Bert? They better. Where's Snuffleupagus? That's actually, Snuffy is not in this special.
That's right.
That's just something I got to point out here.
Realize that. Oh no!
It's because they
Snuffleupagus erasure.
It's because they still think he's Big Bird's imaginary friend.
God, remember the episode where they all
they all just stare.
And they're all just staring at him as the camera.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shots.
Okay,
in
so
all of Sesame Street.
Again, odd tangent. What me know. So yeah, we're doing this in the middle of November, right around Thanksgiving, where the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is going to happen. Sesame Street has a float every year. They have one this year, but interestingly, they have had 2 balloons. I believe Sesame Street has had 2 balloons, maybe 3, but because there's been 4 Muppet balloons. I know one was Kermit, but I don't remember one of the other 2. But take a guess, what 2 Sesame Street characters have had balloons?
Cookie Monster?
Nope.
Grover.
Okay,
That's one.
that was going to be my second
Grover and
guess,
Elmo?
Grover.
No.
It's not Elmo. I know it's not Elmo.
Elmo has never had a balloon.
It's Grover. It's Grover
That's
and
astonishing. To
That
me.
is crazy.
I mean, it's another big one that they're.
Is it
really
Big Bird?
pushing. No.
No.
I think Big Bird did have a balloon.
I feel like I've seen a Big Bird float. What is it?
Big Bird did Abby Cadabby, the new
Oh, okay.
character.
That makes sense. The new one, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
I was thinking more older, but yeah, it would make sense that the newer ones. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the most recent one. But yeah, Elmo has never gotten a balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I'm not complaining because the dude's got enough, obviously, but I'm always like, huh.
That is interesting, definitely.
Yeah. I also...
Because Grover would have been Super Grover, so it would have made sense to explain.
Because Abby Cadabby was flying, Grover was Super Grover. I forget. Kermit was just Kermit.
Kermit's just vibing.
If you can't tell, I have a weird obsession with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade as well. Hey, that's another form of the Voltron autism.
So
And I'll form the brain.
at this point, Piggy is trying to brave it to the farmhouse, and Kermit's like, "No, don't do it." She's like, no problem. Leaves the telephone booth, and the wind is blowing, and blowing her away as the telephone booth in the background is blowing away.
Everything
Just
away.
I compared
great
it to the
set work.
scene in Superman 2.
Fozzie really still wants Kermit to meet his snowman and see the whole new act. And Kermit's like, I don't want to go outside. It's cold. They open the door. The snowman's outside. It's cold outside.
Yeah. It's such a simple gag.
Fozzie is really excited to show off his gags. There's new routine and gags to everybody. But it's going to be ruined because Mama Fozzie Bear has some old friends that have arrived.
Statler and Waldorf, who she says, like, oh, they're my oldest friends. It's like, oh, bitch.
My jaw hit the floor when this scene happened because I was like, the absolute betrayal that happens here.
This is Mason's Game of Thrones.
I was stunned. I was like, how dare you?
Just imagining Mason like every Sunday, like with Game of Thrones, just watching this in segments, and when this happens, like, no!
The Red Wedding? No, this is Mason. So, basically the snowman and Fozzie's routine doesn't work. The snowman's like, I'm getting a little warm out here. I think I should go back outside.
Yeah, and I think that's the last time we see the snowman.
We see him outside in the singing
I was
parts,
say,
yeah.
except for the big
singing parts.
ending.
The Kermit is standing at the window. He's really worried about Piggy. The Count comes over and counts worried frogs. one worried frog.
And Robin innocently comes out like he's not the only one, and counts like two
worried frogs, and the Count just so good.
The Count's my favorite. Sesame
We also
Street
really haven't
character.
mentioned at this point, despite him being
Count.
Robin is a major character in this special.
Yeah, he gets almost as much dialogue as Kermit because he's with Kermit a lot. But Doc decides that he doesn't want to see Kermit afraid, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to brave the snow. I'm going to look for Miss Piggy.
And while this is going on, we get possibly Mason's favorite scene.
Yes.
Maybe all of our favorite scenes.
I was going to
Swedish
say,
Chef,
what do you mean possibly?
Swedish Chef is luring Big Bird into the kitchen to cook, but Big Bird brings him...
He brings him chocolate-covered birdseed. He says, I made it myself. I know it must be hard for you being alone from your family on Christmas. And Swedish Chef just
breaks. Just like... Because he's been like trying to like be like, what, Big Bird's like, what are we gonna have for dinner? I'm really excited. What are you gonna make? And
this scene is hilarious for one thing, but it also shows why Big Bird is such a good character because he is so sweet.
He's so innocent. Then they sing, and the best duet, Big Bird and Swedish Chef.
Yeah, and it's fucking hilarious. Swedish Chef singing while breaking is so funny.
It is like any time the Muppets that like don't speak in English sing, it is the funniest thing in the world to me. I don't know why it makes me laugh every single time. Of course, that's why one of my favorite bits on the Muppet Show is Phenomena. That shit kills me every time.
Or in the Muppets ABC show where Beaker drunkenly sings karaoke.
Yes.
Or when in the 2011 when he sings "Smells Like Teen."
When he sings there's a bit in the there's a bit in the ABC show where it's all the Muppet Gang and they're all at a bar and they're all singing karaoke and Ed Helms is there for some reason and it cuts to like a bunch of like all of them singing different songs and the Swedish Chef comes on and he starts doing Rapper's Delight and it is the funniest thing.
Okay, so again, completely off topic, I'm sorry. You can honestly cut this out if you want. I just thought of this. The Game Awards are in a couple weeks. Which Muppet's going to be there?
Because there's always a Muppet.
Has there always been a Muppet?
For the past couple years, it's been like, Pepe was there one year. It was Dr. Honeydew and Beaker one year. It was Animal last year. So I'm like, what Muppet's going to be there?
They're going to be here to announce, finally, we're going to get our big, epic 70-hour Muppet RPG.
Is Gonzo going to be there?
Gonzo would be there, and he would announce, like, best... what would Gonzo announce?
Racing.
Yeah, probably.
Gonzo would announce.
He's going to announce.
racing.
He's going to announce like some of the esports stuff, like the esports awards.
Or that, yeah.
No, he announces accessibility
Yeah.
because it's like I'm a weirdo. I need to make the world okay for others. So,
I like that.
not saying disabilities make you weird. I'm just
Tangents aside, then the Swedish Chef delivers the best line. because Big Bird is like, well, what are you going to cook? And he's like, shredded wheat and cranberry sauce.
And Big Bird's like, my absolute
That's
favorite.
my favorite.
Imagine feeding every Muppet just shredded wheat and cranberry sauce.
And they're still like, this is still probably the best thing he's ever made.
But hey, we've mentioned 2 Jim Henson shows. There's a third one also in it.
Yep, because right after Doc leaves, Kermit and Robin find the Fraggle hole and go down, and lo and behold, the Fraggles are there.
And it's interesting that, like, Kermit has been telling Robin, like, tales of the Fraggles. Like, and he's like, if I ever found a Fraggle hole, would this be what it looks like?
The mythical Fraggles.
Yeah, the legend of the Fraggles. It's like King Arthur in their universe.
And they go in and they're like, oh, well, we're celebrating Christmas. And the Fraggles are like, what's a Christmas? And they're like, well, it's this thing where, we give presents and these things happen. So, oh, we do that. We pass it on.
Yeah, and it's just one rock.
And they pass it on.
This is such a Sesame Street way to explain other holidays, and I love it.
It very much is, and I love this song. It's the only original song in this
The
special.
yeah.
Pass it on. It's a great song, and then it's just a sweet moment. The Fraggles, I like one of the Fraggles. What's that? What's that? What's that?
Yeah, the Fraggles all have this
What's
tradition.
the Christmas?
The Fraggles all have this tradition where they pass a rock along, and one of the Fraggles gets it, and as Kermit and Robin are leaving, he's like, I'm going to deny my religion to these people, and I'm going to give the rock to you, Robin. Because they can find another rock. It's
What's a
Just find
frog?
What's
a frog? Anyway,
why they're frogs?
the Fraggles are cute. It is definitely. Whereas, like, Sesame Street definitely feels very natural, the way they do it with the carolers. This just feels kind of tacked on, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very obvious Jim Henson was like, well, I got to get the Fraggles in there. Kermit and Robin, some of course.
Yeah, it feels very there, but legitimately, even as a kid who had never watched any Fraggle Rock, this scene I always liked these characters in it, so.
This makes me want to watch Fraggle Rock, kind of, so.
We get back up, and big surprise, Doc has arrived with a dog sled and dressed up like Russian Santa as he has
he's dressed
gotten
up
his
like
piggy.
Alec Baldwin from Rise of the Guardians.
I was gonna make that joke too.
And everyone is here. We are all around for Christmas. Everyone is happy. They found beds for everyone. Gonzo and Animal are hanging on coat racks, and they have never been happier in their entire life.
Yep, and the last 15 minutes of the special is just them singing.
Yeah, it's a big bunch of different songs, all good singing.
Yeah.
Each of them gets kind of little bits here and there. Beaker
Beaker
gets to
Chef,
sing.
They all get a spotlight, and it's not bad, but
Mm-hmm.
I do understand why some people are like, oh, this is the last
It's
15
a very
minutes.
long, little bit of all the songs, but the reason you get to the end is Jim Henson makes a cameo.
Yeah, the man
Where
himself.
he stands behind with Sprocket and he says, I really do love seeing them happy. And then he goes and washes the dishes.
My heart.
And yeah, considering this was, again, 3 years before Jim Henson's untimely demise, it hits all the harder.
It does. It's a great moment. It's a great moment. I really... Look, this special, there's not a lot of substance. It's mostly jokes. It's goofy. It's Muppety. This special hits everything I want in a Muppet thing.
And that ending is just the bow on top.
That
Doc
hits.
coming in dressed as Santa Claus to give everyone presents, and then Jim Henson's cameo. Yeah, it's the little bow on top.
It's a little bow on top. And the music, like, I get it. It's a lot of singing at the end, but it's all really good music. It's all well done. And just this, some of this final scene, I think, also is just the spectacle of all the Muppets in one room.
Very similar to the ending of
minus
the Muppet movie.
Snuffleupagus Erasure, Snuffleupagus Eraser.
He got snuffed. Alepagus.
But having them all in it, and I think the spectacle of having how much it took to operate it and make sure all the Muppets, and all of them are in. It's very similar kind of the ending scene of the Muppet movie.
Yeah.
I was honestly thinking about that, and it's a lot more impressive here because it's such a tight space. Like when you think about like how they did it in the movie, it was very open. There was probably a lot of room under that stage.
Yeah,
at least more room than there is in this tiny house.
Right. So I can't imagine it was still comfortable there.
And I think there's probably an element of, while the singing is not as iconic as them singing Rainbow Connection, it is still I think that's what they're trying to evoke, that feeling.
Yeah, I also like that this is one of the Christmas specials where it doesn't really explain the meaning of Christmas. Mm-hmm. Like
It's just about the family being together.
You can just infer it.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're not there to. It's not about spending or spreading any message outside of them kind of a little bit in the Fraggle stuff. But even then, it's more just being like, no, we're going to be together as friends and family, and we're going to hang out.
Yeah, it's all implied.
Even if Fozzie
Yeah.
is a little disappointed that maybe his very special friend is not as much of a special friend as he thought it was a special friend, but it's okay. His mom is here to protect him.
And be friends with his critics.
It's,
I will never not be over that. Wait, double negative.
Before we get to the questions, I just want to also just highlight something that is really spectacular in the special. The puppet costumes.
Yeah,
The amount of costumes
the
they
fact
put the
that
Muppets in.
Every Muppet has an alternate
And different types of...
alternate costume, like they're in a fucking fighting game. Every Muppet has a new attire for a new winter
Some of them
attire.
multiple different ones. Gonzo has like 3 outfits in this thing.
Yeah, Gonzo has 3 different outfits. Kermit's got like 2.
Kermit's got a couple more.
Miss
All of
Piggy has like 5.
all of the band have different outfits. Animal has a slightly different one at different points. It's just it's really cool that they did a bunch of little different costumes. Some for the Christmas stuff, some of it for just maybe the scenes. It's just it was a very nice touch that you don't always get to see in a lot of these things. As you know, it is hard to do extra costumes, whether you're in a work like this or in animation or something like that.
Right.
You can consistently do the same thing. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that because that is absolutely awesome.
It's a nice touch.
But on this podcast, we like to ask 2 important questions of everything that we watch. The first one, how does this hold up?
You know, it's a little flat. No, we've spent the last hour gushing over this.
I was gonna say.
One could argue, as said, this is some of the most impressive Jim Henson puppetry we've seen. Like, it is,
Yeah.
there's a
You could make
lot
that
of
argument.
big, because of just the sheer volume.
It's just the sheer amount.
There's
Like,
nothing quite as spectacular as, the biking scene in Takes Manhattan where they're all on the bikes. That is possibly the most impressive Muppet puppet work, but...
Okay. Last tangent, since it's about to...
Go ahead.
Sorry. Frank Oz, which scene is it? No, actually, it was the first bike scene in the first Muppet movie.
Yeah.
He was pissed that people kept highlighting that.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone was like, oh, that's such impressive puppet work. How did you make that work? And he's like, it's a marionette. It's the most simple thing in the world. Why the fuck are you people impressed by that? So in The Great Muppet Caper, he was like, you know what? Fuck it. If that's what impresses you, we're just going to do like 100 of them. So that's why there's a bunch of them in Great Muppet Caper.
Yep. It is very funny. The one in legitimately in Manhattan, there's a bunch of different stuff that they do that is really impressive stuff.
I'm sure. I haven't
but
seen
yeah,
Manhattan.
but it is just because of the sheer size of the amount of the cast of Muppets in this.
Yeah, just doing all of this, this amount of Muppets, as well as having Carol Spinney in the Big Bird outfit. Mm-hmm. That poor bastard having to keep a straight face with singing alongside Swedish Chef while hoisting his arm in the air like a motherfucker. So
Yeah, it is impressive work. It is funny. And as I said, because I don't think it's trying to force any message or trying to make a message out of it other than family is important. Friends and family are important, which I love. I think that helps it hold up. That it just feels very timeless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, none of the jokes feel dated. None of the jokes feel like they're set in a certain time period. It's just all goofy play on words, which Jim Henson loved play on
Jim
words.
Henson
So
really play on words.
And it also doesn't feel dumbed down.
No.
It doesn't feel like it's specifically for kids.
No, that's
the
What made
watch
them-
out for the ice patch gets you every time.
Every time.
and what
They beat that joke into the ground and it's still so funny.
Good comedies, good comics know that being able to push that one running gag and being able to do it again. If
a
they
little bit more.
if they can get you to laugh the 3rd time, they know you'll laugh the 4th and 5th time.
If they get you to laugh at the same joke 3 times, then you're golden.
Yeah.
So, also kind of a weird thing to compliment about this special. It's very cozy.
It is very cool.
Especially the ending where they all are singing and they're by the fireplace and everything. It's a very cozy special.
Yeah, it's very simplistic. It's very there, but I think everything about that holds up because it just is all there. Nothing, the technical achievements there, the jokes still work, the music is still good. Everything holds up for this now 36-year-old special.
I was going to bring it up in the beginning. I forgot. When you said the year that it came out, 87, right?
Yeah, the year
I
I was
was
born.
negative 16.
The year I was born.
And I was negative 10.
Which is crazy, actually. Two of my favorite Christmas specials came out the year I was born. This
the other
and
one?
Claymation Christmas.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Oh, we need to cover at some point Claymation Christmas. It's a Christmas special with just a bunch of like musical numbers, but it's all stop-go motion claymation. Really good. It's actually
knowing us, we'll cover it in June or something.
Yep. Or we'll cover it on Christmas 2029.
There we go.
But on this podcast, we ask a second question as well. And that question is, what can films take from this?
I think aside from the obvious of just more Muppets and
Yeah.
stuff, I think something else I can take from it is honestly what we said. You don't have to force a message.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whatever message it might be. Whether the message is good intention or not, if it feels forced, it feels forced.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even when it is a good intended message, it can cause people to roll their eyes and just kind of leave.
One of the movies that I can't actually get over a lot of the times, even though I agree 100% with the message of the movie, but I feel like there is the movie WALL-E. I struggle with that movie. Despite that I agree with all the messaging in it, it just feels so forced by that ending. And that's a movie that I struggle with. So yeah, I actually really agree with that point. That like, if you can make your message natural and feel good, but you can sometimes do your message through actions. And this movie does it through actions of friends and family.
Anything that doesn't have to speak its message, I think is important.
Which is rarely done in Christmas specials.
Yeah, Christmas specials, it's always spoken. It's always said. It's another reason why, even though I do love the Charlie Brown Christmas special, it's not one I go back to a lot. Because Linus literally preaches the message. And it's like, that's fine. That's good. That's okay. But it's also like, I prefer something like this where it's just kind of implied.
I think that's the thing that I really like about this is that even though it is a Christmas special, Christmas isn't really the focus. And that's... Like, I enjoyed Christmas as much as the next guy, but on an aesthetic level, it's not my favorite. And so when I watch a lot of these Christmas specials that just shove Christmas right in your face, the one that I will always think of when it comes to that is, hold on, I just pulled it up. I can't remember what it's called now. Mariah Carey's Magical Christmas special from 2020. My Lord, there is a lot of Christmas in that Christmas special.
I think the age gap just hit right there.
My response to that is, what the fuck is that? So
It is,
every time I think of Mariah Carey's Christmas special, every time I think of Mariah Carey and Christmas, I just think of the She's Unfrozen jokes.
The memes at this point.
Like one of my favorite ones was this it's on brand. It's a puppet YouTuber, but he's very vulgar and everything. And he's like, it may be November, but that's not gonna stop me from. But boom, she breaks in and he just screams, "She's unfrozen!"
But going back to my original point, I do like that this movie doesn't. Up until like the last 15 minutes, it does it a little bit, but even then, it's not really.
It does it just through singing the songs.
Yeah, it doesn't like shove Christmas joy down my throat.
Yeah. Mine is actually, I kind of miss the classic specials that we got all the time from like known properties. I understand that the Star Wars Holiday Special is infamous for its badness, but I do like the idea of any property could have a special for a holiday, and I like that.
I don't know. Lego's Star Wars Holiday Special ain't bad.
That's true. That is actually
that was a
that
thing.
is that is really good. But also we get in different, as we talked about on the Halloween when we did Great Pumpkin. That also things like Toy Story has had Halloween specials. Like I like specials with known properties. Muppets is one of the best for it, but also like we're going to cover at different points in time. We are going to cover some of the Mickey Mouse specials. We're going to cover some of the Garfield specials for the holidays, probably the Christmas one because that is one of my favorites as well.
Give me Sonic's Christmas Blast 2, baby.
Legitimately, I would love to see these with the popularity of Mario this year. Where's Mario's Christmas? But just like those sort of things.
Merry Christmas.
Look, I'm going to tell you, a lot of them, if they do, will be bad. I'm not saying that there's going to be good, but you're going to get good creators wanting to make a Christmas special.
Okay, no, but that just gives me the image of Mario doing the so long gay Bowser thing into a Christmas tree. And then when Bowser drops on his head, they give him a Christmas present like it's okay.
See, you could have the crossover event of the century like this one, and this is how we get Mario and Sonic in a Christmas special.
Yeah, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, the Christmas special, baby.
That is... Or this is how we get Donkey Kong and Mario and Legend of Zelda. Like, it's Smash Bros. The Christmas special.
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
A Merry Smash Brothers Christmas.
Smash Bros. Christmas special. And it's just the same plot as this, but instead they're going to Link's grandma's house or something.
And then my other small thing on it. Hey, can we get some Sesame Street stuff? Like, that's not just the show. Could we get another movie? Maybe, I don't know. Could we get some Sesame Street stuff?
If that one in development, it will fucking happen.
If it ever gets out of the development hell it's stuck in.
Could we get some Sesame Street stuff? I'd really like some Sesame Street stuff. Okay, thank you. Bye.
I was really hoping that it would just cut to the end there, like immediately smash cut to music.
But yeah, that is Muppet Family Christmas. I think we hold it dearly. I hope you do too. But, maybe you have a special that you like even more. Well, let us know. Just comment right below here on this Patreon. Or email us, bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. Tell us your favorite Christmas special.
Yeah, what property do you want to see get a Christmas special?
What would you like to see in it? I would love to hear some different specials that you maybe grew up on with it, or maybe it's something that we haven't mentioned here, because that would be awesome. And hopefully you all agree. More specials, more Sesame Street. I would like a little more Sesame Street, please, please, please. This one maybe with Snuffleupagus. Can we get more of the counting worried frogs? I'd like that. Thank you, please. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye.